The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Now, the reason I asked Vanessa was yesterday we just finished our podcast with a guest in studio, and it was like an hour and a half long interview. And then afterward, he's like, "Where's the tequila?" And I was like, unprepared. So I think I need to ask guests beforehand if there's a particular adult beverage they enjoy. Yeah. So I come prepared to the podcast next time.
Well,
hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Stephen the Cash, joined by Mike Lusky. And I just cut you off, Vanessa, but it's all right. We'll get the show rolling here. Today, we're diving into the critical role of communication and connection in business. Strong businesses are built on trust, shared values, and creating real connections, not just with customers, but with their teams and communities. Mike, tell us a bit more about our guest today.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Stephen, thank you for that. So our guest today is Vanessa Yakobson. She is the founder and CEO of Blo Blow Dry Bar. That's North America's original blow dry bar and the world's leading blow dry bar franchise. So we're going to talk a lot about franchises today and learn a little bit about their culture. And as well, Vanessa has been instrumental in scaling the Blo Blow Dry Bar brand, leading a network of over 140 franchise locations across 2 countries. Beyond business success, you'll want to note this. Vanessa is passionate about creating a vibrant community within her franchise network, empowering teams, and also fostering authentic connections with clients, which we know is super important to our followers. And we talk a lot about that on the show. So Vanessa, we are so happy to have you here with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. This is such an interesting topic.
We love it. Yep. Can never talk enough about it. So maybe to kick us off, Vanessa, can you share what inspired your journey with Blo Blow Dry Bar and how community plays a role in your leadership approach?
Sure. So first of all, I have to give credit where credit is due. I didn't start our company, nor did I start Blo Blow Dry Bar. So our company actually started back in 2001 when my husband and I took our oldest son for his first haircut at the time. And we went to a place that was supposed to be the cool place in Toronto. It was yucky. My husband said, "We can do better." And the next thing I knew, he had started a kids' hair salon chain. Our business partner, Paul Spindler, came in to help run that day to day. And this continued on for several years. And then in 2007, Blo Blow Dry Bar was founded by a mother-daughter team in Vancouver, Canada. We discovered it 2 years later in 2009. We acquired the company and turned it into a franchise. I only joined our team at Blo 10 years ago. So prior to that, I was working in the nonprofit sector for about 11 years. Prior to that, had done my early career years in marketing. So I've had a little bit of a different journey, but I'm so thrilled to have been able to come into our company 10 years ago and really had a vision of how it could grow and what we needed to do. And it's been a fun journey so far, and there's lots more ahead for us.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So you've got locations across, multiple regions and countries. How do you foster that sense of community and connection among your franchisees, especially with such a, you start at that kind of small level and expanding, you've got to expand that connection and community. How do you guys go about that?
It's a big focus on how we operate and what we try to achieve with our franchisees. Some franchise systems, like a restaurant franchise, for example, might have geographic clusters because that's operationally what makes sense. We really grew very organically. We reacted to where leads came from. And so we have geographic spread across the US and across Canada. we work very collaboratively with our franchisees. We know that our system has evolved, it's grown, the brand has stayed true to its roots, but evolved because of the contributions that our franchisees have made and the way they collaborate with the corporate team and with one another. And so we've really tried to foster that. I must say that the technology has made a big difference. Mm-hmm. Having Zoom, having the ability to have roundtables virtually, meetings where I'll come on and update about, what some of the results are over the prior quarter, et cetera. So having those sorts of things has really facilitated that. One of the advantages of being in a franchise system is that you do have that community to rely on. So for our franchisees, they've got the corporate team and they've got one another. So we facilitate that by creating roundtables virtually where they can come together, share best practices, ask questions of one another. We come together every year at an annual conference where they meet one another. They bring their teams, the staff working in their bars, the salons that we refer to as bars. So really looking for those opportunities to bring people together, to learn from one another, to grow together, and form that sense of community, that peer support, those networks that help propel everyone forward.
How'd you, just thinking about, you're talking about Zoom and bringing them together. How'd you guys navigate the pandemic?
So the pandemic was definitely an interesting time for our business. Almost all of our locations were shut down for extended periods of time. And we actually used that opportunity to reflect on where we were as a brand and where we wanted to go. We focused on what the strategic plan looked like, and it created space because we weren't operating our business as normal. It created space for us to work on developing resources, new best practices, et cetera, and bringing our franchisees together for learning opportunities. And I mean, most definitely the virtual capability of being able to come together over virtual video platforms really was a key success factor for us. In fact, I think it was in 2021 that we did our annual conference, a slightly different format version of it over a video conference.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a very interesting time for sure. So Vanessa, we've spoken often to different franchise leaders here on the show, and one thing that comes up time and time again is the importance of consistency across the franchises, right? Mm-hmm. And so in a franchise system, it often seems like that challenge of delivering a consistent culture, delivering a consistent experience, and brand across all of the locations, is difficult. So I'm curious if you could share with our listeners, what strategies have effectively ensured so that you do have alignment and you have the same community, that cohesion within Blo.
Yeah, you're right. It's so important. And we know that our customers travel. They travel across the US, across Canada, from one country to another. And we want them to have a consistent brand experience. When they go into a Blo in Tampa or in Toronto or in Dallas, we want it to feel like the same brand experience with the same standards. So we're very explicit in publishing those brand standards, publishing the customer service protocols that we want our franchisees to follow. So we have manuals, we have training videos, we have those live learning opportunities. So we really work hard to make sure that the standards and expectations and protocols, ways of conducting business are made explicit. We can't take that for granted. And then we try to evaluate it. Our team will go out on the road a fair amount. We'll go and visit locations. We pay close attention to customer reviews, both on the public review platforms and through the POS software that we use, the booking software that also sends out marketing communications to customers and surveys after their service. So our team pays close attention to what customers are saying. We keep an eye on our franchisees' social media posts. So we really try to ensure that we have good visibility into the business and can take steps to act if we see discrepancies or inconsistencies.
I really love that. Because there's a famous quote that gets attributed to Maya Angelou about, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll really remember how you made them feel. And I think it's like you said, right? If someone is traveling and going to different stores, they want to have that exact same, feeling. And that's really what they end up remembering. So, I mean, it's super important in delivering that. Yeah.
Definitely. And, we have come to learn over the years that we are not only in the beauty business, we are in the wellness business too. And customer experience and the way we make people feel really is what drives this engine forward. It's not just the transaction of the hair service or the makeup service. It's the experience the customer has in our bars. It's the way she feels when she leaves. And for us, what's so interesting is that the same customer can come to us on different days for a different experience. She might come one day, she's really busy. She's brought her laptop to catch up on work. She just wants to sit in the chair and bang out her work while someone else takes care of her hair. She might come in on a Saturday evening with great excitement because she's heading out for a night on the town and she's there to have fun and get ready. She might come in with her best friend or her daughter or her bridal party on another day. So really understanding what the customer is there for and delivering on that experience. We understand today that customers are willing to invest in experiences, those things that make them feel good. And so we take very seriously that if we are not delivering that exceptional guest experience, we're not going to win as a business.
Yeah, I think for someone who's, one of your employees there, knowing their purpose, that, a higher purpose in there, like you're seeing someone who maybe is going to have a very important day tomorrow or something like that, right? Or, in the middle of a life change experience, like you mentioned, like a bridal party or something. And there's this kind of higher purpose around the job that they're doing, is that they're helping that person feel, confident, right, on that day of that big event.
Totally.
And how do you go about having your franchisees kind of understand that particular element of your business?
I think our business model attracts people who are excited about that and who do value owning a business that makes people feel wonderful and that plays such an important role in people's lives. And the staff who are attracted to the industry, the individuals who become hairstylists and makeup artists, they really love making people feel wonderful. So I think part of it is self-selection. I think part of it is people being attracted to the business who really do have that passion for customer service and making people feel great. And then we keep a spotlight on it. We talk to our franchisees about things like net promoter scores and how to manage your digital reputation by responding to reviews and all of that. So we do keep it top of mind. We do put the focus on developing out the customer service protocol, the different service standards, et cetera, that keep that focus on the importance of delivering on those wonderful guest experiences.
You mentioned a bit kind of supporting them with in their local communities in a way. You're kind of looking at the reputation management. You mentioned a little earlier kind of looking at the social posts and what they're doing. So how do you support the franchises to build connections in their local community?
It's such an important part of what it means to be a franchisee in the Blo system. When we vet people and approve them as candidates to become franchisees, we're testing to make sure that they have those skills and that they enjoy that networking and going out into the community and building partnerships with local business neighbors that are going to be sources of customers for them, or going out and supporting charities and schools, other organizations in their community. So we make sure that the candidates that we're meeting who want to become Blo franchisees have those skill sets and excitement around undertaking that kind of activity. And then we're going to train them on what we call community engagement marketing, which really is the stuff you do beyond the paid digital or other paid opportunities. It's all that networking and that outreach and supporting your community, supporting your organizations. And those are all things you do that help build awareness for your business, while also enabling the franchisee and their teams to kind of weave themselves into the fabric of their community in a way that feels rewarding for them, feels meaningful for the guests experiencing the services and engaging with the brand, and feels wonderful for those team members who understand that the service they're delivering and the benefits they're providing to members of their community really do enhance people's lives.
So I actually just wanted to make like a real quick point on something that you said earlier. Stephen was asking, about how the purpose sort of flows through. And I refer oftentimes to this Ernst & Young study that talks about organizations that have a very clear purpose oftentimes grow, about 3x faster than other organizations. And I thought that was so, critical because, like you were saying, it sounds like many of your franchisees and even the employees know why they're there, right? To help someone out, to give them that confidence that they need. I love that word, to help them feel wonderful is key. And so I think if the organization has members of employees and franchisees that understand the importance of that, it's just going to bleed into the experience that the customers end up having. Yeah.
And Mike, I think what's interesting is that it's true about the business model and the value proposition, the services we deliver, but it's also true about the points of engagement between members of the team and between members of the team and the guests. It's a very social business. The Blo location is going to have a big number of team members. They might have 5, 10, 15. They're there to support one another. And we hear that stylists love working at a Blo location. Sometimes it can be competitive out in the salon world, or lonely if you're doing a booth or chair rental. They love the connectivity of working with others in a Blo system. They love knowing that I might start out by greeting the customer. You're then going to take them and deliver the service, or I might be running behind and you're going to jump in and offer them a coffee while they're waiting for me. So there's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of supporting one another. There's a lot that we do with our franchisees around the very business fundamentals of goal setting and action planning and giving your team members goals. So sometimes it's not only about the purpose related to the actual delivery of our services, but the purpose related to helping each other grow in their skill sets, helping each other achieve their goals, helping the business owner pay her bills. So there's all of that. And then there's the connectivity with the customers, those regulars who tell you about what's going on in their lives. And, those very personal interactions that happen on the floors of our bars.
Yeah. That's critical. In fact, let's say a little bit, more about that and creating, I guess, the connection that you'd like to connect with the customers, right? Because you don't want it, any business doesn't want it to be like one and done. And as you said, if seen just viewed from the outside, it could be a service that might be, looked at as somewhat commoditized or, hard to differentiate. So I'm curious. Maybe if you could talk more about some of the practices that you've mentioned, what practices have been implemented at Blo so that it goes beyond just that service, that I can probably, just get this anywhere into something that then becomes, a really lasting connection for the customer.
Yeah. So important. I think it starts with our physical environment, creating those beautiful spaces, making sure they're clean, making sure that there's lively music playing, that the customer gets warmly welcomed. So much of that is setting the stage for the guest experience. And then it's also about really tapping into what the guest needs. So during the consultation, the stylist performing this service will want to understand, where's the guest going? What is she looking to achieve with her style? Are there particular needs or challenges that she experiences with her hair? So really understanding the guest needs so that the stylist can then customize the service and make recommendations for, maybe she's really stressed and needs a head massage added on to her service that day, or maybe her hair is dry and she wants to take home a conditioning treatment. So really making it a very high touch, personalized, customized service experience is really key.
Got it. Yeah. It's got to be unique, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. We've got, we've got a guest question coming up here. So let's see. Vanessa, what advice would you give to other leaders looking to scale a purpose-driven franchise while maintaining a strong sense of community?
I think that those things kind of go hand in hand. That strong sense of community, like-minded people. So every franchise system really has to ensure that as they're welcoming new franchisees in, they're a good cultural fit. There's alignment of values and alignment of purpose. So I think it starts with franchisee selection, just as it does when you're recruiting for any business. You want to have that cultural fit and that value alignment. And then I really do think that for us, it's been about engaging the franchisees, having those conversations, learning from their experience on the front lines. So you create that community and you recognize the shared purpose, and that just propels the whole business forward. So I would say, people to your team, including your franchisees, keep the focus on the purpose and work together, work collaboratively. That creates that sense of community.
Most franchises have a whole bunch of systems set in place. You want to get that standardization right. But how do you also find that balance to allow, your franchisees to kind of be really flexible and innovate locally?
It's very tricky. And I think that as any franchise system grows, you have to become stricter with your enforcement of brand standards and the need for that consistency. We want our franchisees to feel like the Blo location or locations that they're operating are an extension of themselves in a way. So we do allow them that space to really deliver on their version of excellent customer service. So if a franchisee decides they want to invest in an espresso machine and serve espresso, if they want to serve a bubbly alcoholic beverage on a weekend, those are things that we don't necessarily mandate. And we do give the franchisees that little bit of room to bring their own flavor. I kind of think of it as, we've brought the recipe, we've brought all the ingredients. The chef in the kitchen now has the ability to insert their little bit of flair or additional spice. So we want to create a little bit of space for that, while also monitoring to make sure that we are keeping that consistency that we talked about. But often what happens is that something that works really well for a franchisee, part of our job and part of keeping this collaborative approach is learning from our franchisees as to what's working well for them, so that we can then package that up into a system best practice that we can roll out more broadly.
Yeah, I think that's where you find in a lot of businesses, like in your model, where you find that real power is when you give them enough leeway to innovate locally, and then the communication comes back on something that really works.
Yeah.
And then now you blow it out to everyone else.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's why I'm always kind of diving in on that, that balance there you got to find for the freedom versus standardization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd say too, for sure, as long as it's improving the customer experience versus impacting it negatively. So Vanessa, let's talk, I guess, a little bit more. You mentioned earlier one of the things to take a look at about consistency and how some of the locations are doing is to respond to reviews and I'm sure there are metrics as well that you use to track. So I'm curious, what are some of the feedback loops or feedback mechanisms that you have, not so much just to, I guess, talk about performance and how locations are doing, but do you have measurements to measure the customer experience and how that community engagement is going on.
Yeah, so within the software that every bar uses, as I said earlier, there's an email that'll go out or a text message that'll go out to a customer asking them to rate their service. If they rate it at the low end or the high end of the scale, the system then asks them for feedback. And then the Net Promoter Score is being created. So we coach our franchisees to monitor the Net Promoter Score. We talk about the goals that we have, what you should be striving for, and we teach franchisees how to use those. So first of all, the advantage of getting reviews through the system is that they come pretty quickly in real time. And a franchisee can even have it set up to their phone. So a review comes in, the franchisee sees it right away. If it's a positive review, they have the opportunity to go into their team chat and say, hey guys, Susie just got this amazing review. Congratulations, Susie. Or if there's a service deficiency identified, they have the opportunity very quickly to reach out to the customer, understand what happened, and try to make things right for the customer, inviting her back in for a service, etc. And so by doing that, they're often able to preempt her going to the public review platforms where she could maybe do a little bit more damage. And then it gives the franchisee the opportunity to identify where certain team members might need more coaching, or maybe there's a group training opportunity to upskill and put a stronger focus on the customer service protocols. When it comes to the public review channels, we actually use marketing technology. So our franchisees have access to a platform that pulls all those different public review channels into one platform. So they can go right in there. They can see what customers are saying. We give them the best practices in terms of how many hours do you have to respond to a negative review? How many hours do you have to respond to a positive review? How to respond so that not just the person who left the negative review, but the other people reading on that review platform even years later. Right. What do you need to say in your response so that they can see that the business is being responsive? But then how do you take it offline so you're dealing with the customer appropriately in a private way? You don't want to trigger a bunch of copycats if all you're doing is going onto your public channel and saying, I'm sorry you had a terrible experience, we'll offer you a free blowout. Right. That will blow up in your face, no pun intended.
Right, right.
So really working with our franchisees on what those best practices are, how to manage your digital reputation so that you're responding effectively in a timely manner, et cetera. And then using the feedback that you're getting to improve your business. I think so many business owners are really scared of those reviews, but we coach our franchisees to see it as a gift. Those reviews and the feedback you're getting for your customer really are an opportunity to improve your business and help propel it forward.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear you say that, because in the work that we do, obviously negative reviews is never great, but Google does also look at the engagement that is going on with say someone's particular business profile. So yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that. Don't shy away from those negative reviews, and I'm also happy to hear you say that the franchisees are encouraged to get those public positive reviews, because they definitely do have a big impact.
For sure. Yeah. And we talk a lot about search engine optimization and how one of the most important things to do to drive those mysterious Google algorithms is get a lot of reviews, a high number of reviews, and respond to them in a timely manner. So yeah, but there's a lot that's in the hands of the business owner.
Yeah, 100%.
Vanessa, you had mentioned earlier you had kind of the background in volunteerism. I wonder, as a leader, are there any practices from that or any other practices that you prioritize to create kind of a culture of connection and inclusion with your team?
So yeah, there's a lot of volunteering I did. And then there was also working as the leader of the charitable fundraising arm of a larger government-funded nonprofit. So yeah, there's so much about building connections in the community to raise awareness for your business or your brand, in the case of the charity I was working for, galvanizing the support of the community and having people rally around a common cause. Obviously, when you're talking about a pediatric cancer charity, there's a different motivation than when you're talking about supporting a local business. But so much that we've seen in the past several years, and I think the pandemic experience really accelerated the notion that people have come to value the local business owners in their neighborhoods and the local businesses that they run. And as a franchise, our job is to help people understand that we're not some big corporate system. This is really about the people in your neighborhood. These are really businesses owned by individuals from your community. And so encouraging our franchisees to be out there representing their business and making those connections. We know that customers in our bars, people in the neighborhoods, want to support the business owners that are local to them. So I would say that a lot of the experience I had around building brand, around how you gain the support of a community, I think a lot of those skills and experiences are very similar to what we're encouraging our Blo franchisees to do.
Yeah, that goes along so well with I thought Brian Solis, he was the author of Mind Shift, talked about community and how community wasn't really just about belonging to something, but really it was about doing something together that really mattered in the end. And so you could be the customer and then you could be the franchisee, but I love what you're saying, right? They feel like they're supporting the customers in a way, can feel like they're supporting their community.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And there's a whole other layer of it too for Blo franchisees. And again, I think this is that self-selection. I think one of the things that attracts people to the Blo franchise is that they recognize that they can use their Blo business to contribute to their communities. So whether they are going to have a styling station at a local fundraising event to help that fundraiser be successful, or whether they're hosting volunteers from a charity in their organization, or one of our franchisees would host the moms whose kids were in cancer treatment and give them that little bit of a break and pampering, or the franchisees that will offer complimentary services to women who are struggling to find work and help them prepare for an interview, or whether it's the teams coming together to go and volunteer, the franchisee with their staff to go and volunteer and do something together as a team. There's so many different layers of what you just talked about, but coming together in support of the community is such a persistent theme through our Blo experience.
Yeah. And it also, in a way gives an organization or, location longevity in a way, right? Because it's not just about the business at that point, but it's really about, what are we doing in this world together? So love that. Love that. So Vanessa, I'm curious on your thought in this question in particular, because when it comes to leading, and then you have a growing business, right? I'm sure that you have goals as an organization that you have to hit. And so it's easy for us to just, get so focused on those goals to forget, I guess, about like the personal connection side of things, or the overall purpose of the organization. So, as you're going through that, trying to grow and, avoiding things just becoming transactional. Yeah. I'm curious, what do you do personally so that you stay connected to the purpose, behind Blo as you're kind of leading this organization?
From the perspective of where we sit at the head office, we know that our success is entirely dependent on the success of our franchisees. So our interests are very much aligned. They come into this business with their personal goals, family goals, financial goals, and we take very seriously that it's a privilege that they have chosen to partner with Blo Blow Dry Bar to work to achieve those goals. So we know that in order for our company to be successful, we have to ensure that they're successful. So, you talk about leading with empathy. For us, it's really about understanding what they're trying to achieve, what their challenges are, their personal barriers as leaders in their businesses. And so everything we do at the head office is about how can we do more, deliver more, train more, et cetera, to give our franchisees everything that they need to be successful. So I think for us, it really is, it sort of permeates the whole thing. What are they trying to achieve? Who are these individual entrepreneurs who've given us the responsibility of being their partner in this venture? What are they trying to achieve for the staff working for them and the opportunities they're creating for these individuals to have wonderful careers and earn a great living, et cetera? What are they trying to create for the guests coming in to their bars? So to me, it's like a continual thread weaving through all of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Looking ahead, how do you see Blo continuing to strengthen its community? You mentioned some of those like initiatives, community initiatives. Is that something you want to do more in the future, or where are you looking to kind of build that community relationship?
I think it's going to be more of the same as we continue to grow across geographies. I think it's going to be how each of our businesses continues to grow within their own neighborhoods and communities. So as they continue to grow their customer base and touch the lives of more people in their communities, I think it's going to be, we know the formula, we've got the recipe book, and how do we continue to scale while still staying true to the brand, staying true to that purpose, and ensuring that we're delivering those high touch experiences and connections between corporate and franchisee and their teams, the team and the guests. It's all, I think it's all going to be about more of the same, bigger and deeper.
Yeah. So interesting. I'm sure you've read the book From Good to Great. And in there, they talk kind of like the power of the flywheel. Sounds like, once you really get that going, it really starts to gain momentum. So you're on the right track.
It's the gaining momentum, and how do you continue to evolve, stay relevant, stay ahead of the competition, while also staying true to the fundamentals of the business and the value proposition. And that's what's been really fun, is to see how we can keep the core, evolve and grow to meet customer demand and continue to be the leader in the space, but not by deviating from the purpose that is at the core of all we do and has been since our founders started it in 2007.
Yeah. Vanessa, it's been a great conversation. Before we wrap up, I always like to ask this question or some form of it. What role do you think love and compassion plays in business?
In business in general? I think it plays a very important role. I think it's more obvious in a service-oriented brand like ours, but I think that I think people crave human connection, and I think we know to post-pandemic, the younger generations that are coming up through the workforce today, people value connection. It's not just about do your 9 to 5 and go home. So I think that love, that empathy, that caring, that understanding of what individual needs are is very important. And I think the challenge of a business owner is figuring out how can you meet those human needs for that connectivity? How can you lead from that place of empathy, but also be true to the business and also get the job done and get it done in a financially responsible way. I know for us at Blo, it's an enormous part of who we are and how we deliver our service, how we engage with one another, how we support our franchisees to deliver on the opportunity for their team members and the opportunity for their guests. It's an enormous part of what we do as a service brand, but I do think it's relevant across the spectrum.
Vanessa, where can people learn more about your business? Where should they go?
They can go to our website, blowmedry.com, blomedry.com. Please find me on LinkedIn. Feel welcome to reach out. I can always connect you with members of my team, or you can connect with other members of the team on LinkedIn. Blo Hearts You is our Instagram channel. You can learn a lot about our marketing promotions and opportunities there. And I would love to engage.
Well, Vanessa, that was an incredible conversation. Thank you, so much for sharing, the journey and what you've, the insights that you've given to us today. We can certainly tell, right, as hosts, your passion for community and connection. So it truly is inspiring to us, and wanting to keep the conversation going on that. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to chat about such an interesting way of thinking about business. So thanks for the opportunity. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Vanessa. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Bliss Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more inspiring conversations with leaders making a difference.